All right, welcome back, everyone. I wanted to go behind the headlines on that story we just reported coming out of the state of Maine, where in Portland, Maine, activists have been working for a long time, and a lot of people put a lot of effort into getting a legalization proposal for the city of Portland. Now, it would have been largely symbolic in that the state of Maine still would have had illegal cannabis. But Maine's pretty liberal when it comes to cannabis in the first place. It takes over, I think, 25 plants before it's even a felony in the state of Maine. And they're a decriminalization state. I believe you can have up to an ounce without it being a crime. And they also are a medical marijuana state with fairly good limits. So we were all excited about medical marijuana or marijuana legalization getting on the ballot for 2014 for the city of Portland to make legal 2.5 ounces of marijuana and to institute a regulatory framework. Whether it would have gone into effect, probably not, because it still would have been illegal under state law. But that does not change my intense disappointment with the results of today's lobbying by the medical marijuana dispensary industry in Maine. As reported by the Weed Blog, they were all set to go. This thing was expected. It had to go through a legislative council to approve whether it was, these councils, they have to determine if the language is proper and all the restrict, everything's on the straight and narrow, when they put these things on the ballot. So it was going to pass by one vote, and the medical marijuana lobby flipped one of the votes and made it so that people in Portland, Maine, who aren't medical marijuana users are still considered to be carrying contraband when they have cannabis on them. And this just disappoints me because it's once again the only time I find organized, funded opposition to legalization by pot smokers. It's medical. And I keep telling this story year after year after year. Every election cycle, at least I should say. This goes all the way back to 2008. I recall in 2008 we were running the Oregon Cannabis Tax Act, or maybe it was 2006, one of those years. But we were running the Oregon Cannabis Tax Act, and in that particular incarnation, it mentioned that the Cannabis Tax Act would supersede and replace all marijuana laws in the state of Oregon. And in doing so, it would have legalized unlimited personal possession, unlimited personal cultivation, a system of commercial cultivation and distribution, processing, and retail. And yet, it got a lot of opposition from people in medical marijuana because it would have gotten rid of the medical marijuana law. Now, think that through, right? It would have gotten rid of the medical marijuana law that restricts you to 24 plants and 24 ounces. And they were upset because then they would have been left with a law that lets everybody have unlimited cultivation, unlimited possession. And the reasoning was, if we went ahead and legalized for everyone an unlimited personal possession and cultivation, the feds would come in and they would strike it down, and then there'd be no law left. So we have to keep the medical marijuana law in place just in case they strike down the recreational law. And so that's why we got major opposition in Oregon. In 2010 in California, you had the Stoners Against Legalization campaigns. You had the Emerald Triangle voting against Prop 19. You had dispensaries taking the money that people were spending on marijuana. And when we're talking California, a lot of those people who are medical, okay, you're one of us, right? You're just a toker. Well, you know it and I know it. You went in, you got your $40 recommendation, you complained about insomnia, anxiety, or whatever else was on the board, and you got your permission slip to be able to smoke weed legally and shop in a dispensary. So you and I are the same. We're not talking about the cancer patient. We're not talking about even the person with regular severe pain. We're talking about the kids I see, aged 18 to 24 at the Cypress Hill show, who are going to a Cypress Hill show to get a medical checkup, because that's the first place you go if you want to see a doctor, and complaining about whatever so that they can get their recommendation so that they can go into the smoking areas of the rap show. Okay? So those people who shopped at dispensaries, their money was taken and then used to help defeat Prop 19. In 2012, in Washington state, just north of me, we had a major no on I-502 campaign. And to be fair, there was some validity to some of the stuff they were saying. The DUID law was bad and other considerations. But once again, the only organized, funded opposition of pot smokers against legalization, medical marijuana. And that's why I'm so excited about the 58% support we're seeing for legalization across the board, even in places like Texas, because maybe the next few states that start down this path don't have to go down that medical path. Maybe, just maybe, some state can come right out of the gates. Maybe it's Missouri. With just legalization, bypass medical, give equal rights to everyone. No more special rights for sick people. Let's just give as much right to the cannabis plant to everybody that deserves it. All uses, none ya. I don't care if it's hemp. I don't care if it's medicine. I don't care if you have a good time with it. Whether or not you use it, how you use it doesn't make a difference. You have the right to use it.
Oh, have you ever met that funny
got a little riled up there.
man?
Brian Red made it in. How you doing, Brian?
I'm here. Were we supposed to dress up today? Oh, I might have to do something.